to Enlightenment of Change on webtalkradio.com. I'm your host, Connie Whitman, and I'm excited that you're joining me this week. So I hope as you listen to the show that you really do feel my passion for helping you change whatever it is that's going on with your life, career, business, etc. By incorporating the little changes that we talk about and my guests talk about in the episodes. Hopefully it helps you move the needle on whatever results you're seeking. Well, to help you on your journey of change, in my show notes at the bottom, you'll see a link to my communication style assessment. You're going to get 2 reports. First report will spotlight just your natural communication superpowers. How is your message landing naturally without any effort? Important to know. The flip side, though, you'll have a low score. That's where you're communicating with people, probably speaking 180 degrees differently than how you naturally communicate. To me, that's the more important report for you to dig into, because that's a blind spot. And we want to be able to address those blind spots. So no matter who we're communicating in front of us and creating change or whatever it is, growing your business, growing your career, we need to be able to make sure our message lands for the other person. So again, my link is in the show notes, my gift to you. The other thing I wanted to ask you today is, if you're enjoying the show, please subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And if you really, really love the show, I hope that you'll share it, because sharing is caring, and share it with other people who are in business, career, etc., that perhaps the show and my guests and our strategies and ideas can help move the needle, again, in whatever you're looking to achieve in this year, and then again, way, way into the future. So to start the show, it's a solo episode today, so you just get me, but which I think is still fun. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read my motivational quote just to set the tone for the topic that I want to cover today. So the quote is by Michael Bazigos, and Michael says, "Accountability, the ability of people to understand what is expected of them, exercise authority, and take responsibility for delivering results, is an important dimension of organizational health." So right out of the gate, I want you to think about, what does accountability mean to you personally, the individual? And if you're a team leader, what does that accountability look like for self as well as for your team? So I want to share a story. I remember my first client, so this is 25 years ago. During 2 years that I had worked with them, we were creating this just amazing dynamic client journey culture where we really started focusing on them being a community partner. We focused on new business development skills and individual career growth within the company. Well, after 2 years working with them and building this just wonderful culture, where even the community was coming back and saying, "Wow, we love what you're doing," happened to be a bank at the bank. So we're approaching the end of my work being done with them, right? We had implemented, everybody was skilled, we had coaching, we had all these pieces in place. And then during the 2 years, we were able to create this rinse and repeat sales and business development process, right? So anybody coming on, right, they could add that to their training department. We had implemented tools and created tools that measured and reported for the leaders to evaluate and leverage effective coaching conversations, again, to continue to push the needle and raise the skill level of every employee. So at the very end, as I always do, right, we were done. We had built what we needed to build. I met with the CEO to discuss how he and his team could continue to support the momentum and the changes that we had made in his marketplace, using the clear goals. We had coaching, other measurements that his managers had embraced and loved using because it was tangible, it was clear, it created clarity for them. And he looked at me and said, and this is almost quote unquote, "Well, I'm not going to sign goals because then we become pushy salespeople versus a customer service driven organization." I have to tell you, I literally was stunned. His people were having these just wonderful, deep conversations with their clients. They grew their individual business development skills and brought in so much new business. They became true partners in their respective communities, both with their personal clients as well as with their business clients. And the revenue generation over the 2 years was exponential. So I thought I clearly misunderstood what he's saying to me. And I wondered why he believed that assigning goals, which we already had in place loosely, but we did have them in place, but by defining those goals with a little bit more clarity, he felt would undo all of the excellent skills the employees had developed and the work, again, during this 2-year period that we had built in the community. So I responded, well, goals are necessary so that you could continue to measure all of the work, all this great work your employees are doing and have been implementing. And now it's time to use the goals to measure the employees' success and really give them a clear guide of how to continue to grow their skills, right? What they should be looking at, where they should dig in to develop and continue to grow their own personal skills. Well, he dug in and he said, well, I'm not going to fire anybody if they didn't meet their goals. And again, you sit there and you think, am I in the twilight zone? I was stunned because why would you not meeting a goal, right? A person not meeting their goals equate to having to fire them? Like, where was that connection? I had also implemented the coaching program at the bank. So the managers and the branches, I had worked with the retail division, were really thriving. So how does one person in 2 years of this hard work and the employees just making this great impact in the community, revenue growth, increased employee satisfaction, right? People loved their jobs. They were excited because they were growing and doing so many amazing things. Well, this is the power of someone in a high decision-making capacity that could undo all the good and the efforts the employee had implemented because he was uncomfortable holding people accountable, and because it probably meant a little more work for him. Well, I was appalled and felt really bad for the employees because here I'm leaving, right? They don't really have me as a resource anymore. Well, here's the kicker. After the contract was up, the employees continued to call me or email me and ask for help with a potential client meeting or a new business outreach or a networking event they were going to. And they would even ask to role play with me on the phone so that we could kind of come up with some additional strategies so that they could continue to do their outreach in the community and develop these great relationships and supporting their small businesses and all of the people within their footprint as they moved forward. Well, of course, I helped these employees because they wanted to support their communities. And it wasn't their fault that they had this horrific leader at the helm. So here's the question. What type of leader are you? One who fears accountability or holds yourself and your team accountable so you can make these just really significant impact in your industry, in your community, within your own company? Well, unfortunately, I wish my story ends with that, right, being the only time that I had seen such poor leadership, I guess, and lack of accountability of self, right? The leader's accountability of self, let alone holding a team accountable. And here's the scary thing, right? I could do all these podcasts and these rants and what have you. Some will change, right? They understand they'll be introspective and try to create the skill to keep developing themselves as leaders and continue to grow the leaders that are below them. Well, here's another story that's just kind of scary. Again, this happened about 5 years ago, so not that long ago. I saw the same type of poor leadership at the C-suite level. So one of my bigger clients had merged with another company, and the new executive just wanted nothing to do with employee development. Sad, but true, right? It happens. Before my contract ended, I happened to see firsthand, I happened to be in headquarters, happened to see firsthand how poor leadership can create a wave of just this mass exiting of these really high quality employees, right? Because employees, they know their worth. They're I don't want to use the word abused, but they're not treated what they feel maybe as fairly. So they're the first ones to hightail it out of there because they know they have value that they bring to the organization. And that's exactly what happened. So here's the story. The head of the department and the new CEO, when I saw this firsthand, would come out and scream across this very open floor plan. You could kind of imagine it, an open office floor plan. And they would scream and yell at an employee, not walk over quietly, but yell across to the employee for a mistake or something that had made this executive particularly angry. I have to be honest, I had never seen anything like that. And here's the deal. I knew at that moment that whatever this new regime coming in, they did not align with my core values, let alone my core leadership values. So honestly, I was happy that the contract was ending. Now, you may have similar stories of bad leadership or lack of accountability during your career or your business development, whatever it is, whatever frame of reference you're coming from. So here's my plea, leaders, you got to hold yourself and your teams accountable, and goals are a necessary thing to measure, right? We have to know, did we exceed? Did we hit our goals? Did we fall below our goals? And then why, right? Evaluate the data, that information. Then we also have to train our employees. We're asking them to do X, Y, or Z. We have to empower them to be able to do those skills or meet that expectation, holding them accountable, as well as yourself, giving them the tools to meet the objectives. And the last one is we have to create some type of ongoing measurement, goals, and coaching. Notice how I don't just say goals, but coaching to support all these new skills that are required to succeed. Things are changing quickly. We have to support our teams and our employees so that they could continue to grow as well. Also, the other piece of the puzzle for me, again, one of my core values as a leader is we have to treat people with kindness and respect. That should be included in the mix. And you know what? Measurements and supporting and love, care, and respect, all the things that, I preach or I talk about, it really creates happy, empowered employees that are inspired to go and inspire your customers to buy from you. It's like magic, right? The rest falls in place. There's a big ripple effect here. So leaders, you really do need to start using accountability and, again, respect, that kind of double-edged sword. There has to be a balance, which means stop managing by zooming in and just looking at a number. We really need to try to zoom out to approach employees from a skill level, right? Using the data to look at the skill level, where are we missing the mark, where then we could create a skill development strategy or plan to help the employee, to help the department, to help the division, to help ourselves, right, grow our skills. And you know what happens too? We create satisfaction within the employee, which creates, again, a ripple effect, which is that the customers feel more satisfied, seen, heard, understood, all of the things that we talk about in the podcast, in my training, my blogs, all of that stuff. So if you have a plan, execute it, support your team, hold everyone, including yourself, accountable. And I promise you, magic happens. So that's my rant for today, my solo episode. It's a quick one, but I hope you self-reflect, do a little introspection here, as well as, if you're an employee, perhaps go to your leader, whoever is coaching you, and ask for help, right? We have to have these open communication dialogues so that we cumulatively can get better. Again, the communication style assessment, my link is in the show notes, my gift to you, but it's a really nice way to dial in and start to peel back your onion of how you, as a contributor or as a leader, right, can create some magic in your workplace, in your business, in your life, in your career, with your team, and the list goes on and on. So thank you for joining me. You've been listening to Enlightenment of Change with me, your host, Connie Whitman, on webtalkradio.com. I truly am inspired that you join me weekly, and I hope that these solo episodes just provide some thought-provoking ideas, or maybe something that you can discuss back at your team in your morning huddles, whatever it might be. But the idea is we have to talk about this stuff. We have to develop strategies and plans. Information's a beautiful thing. If we do nothing with it, it's just information out there in our brain. Once you start applying it, talking about, strategizing, using, I promise you, results happen. Magic happens. It's not by accident. Action creates reaction. So again, I hope my ideas, my stories help you and help you move the needle for yourself, you, the individual contributor, and or you as a leader. I love you all. I am honored that you're here. And again, don't forget to subscribe, rate, review. I read the reviews. I feel the love. It means a lot to me. Again, I hope this was helpful. I love you. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time, everybody. Thanks a million.